left the nation. And the main reason for that, specifically for Intax, was there was just a breakdown in communication on a leadership level, and it was just no longer a functional relationship. And then with Soulfeast, he never really became a part of the nation. He didn't really attend many events, and he tended to have some outbursts that we did not agree with. Specifically telling people in Nation that they deserve to lose their packs, or that they should be thankful that he didn't steal their packs, and things of that nature. So we opted to go ahead and remove them both before we could become any more salty or have any rifts form within the nation. So, briefly, we're going to open the floor to questions. Please remain civil. Does anybody have anything they want to ask?
Why is the sky blue?
It has something to do with reflection of light and water. Next question.
Who's going to be the raid leads?
Probably our primary raid lead will be Tadia, but we have some wonderful people in this nation who have the capacity to do that. I know that y'all have all seen Zeal lead, and I hope that he kind of takes up that role more prominently, and I'm sure a few other people would be willing to fulfill that role. And we're going to be willing to nurture those people that are willing to take up that mantle.
Are they going to be against us? Do we know anything about that?
We don't know. I mean, we don't know what their plans are. I would assume that they would join Green Card, because that's kind of the only other show in town. I mean, I wouldn't resent them for looking for PvP.
Right. Me either.
Dipsy, it was a leadership level issue, which is why it wasn't brought to the attention of everyone, because we were actively trying to work on it. Tadia and him both were actively trying to work on their friendship and repair the communication issues, and it just became evident that it's not going to be possible. And that's when the decision was made. We didn't want to keep anyone who is no longer going to be in the nation any longer than we have to. It just removes the opportunity for saltiness in ugliness in nation chat and guild chats. Camia, you have the option to choose who leads you, and it is by joining or not joining. The leadership of this nation is the leadership of this nation.
User joined your channel.
One thing that I did that is more feedback than a question, and is that regardless of the reasons for getting rid of the people or them going, I felt that the timing on this was done really badly. I mean, we booted them right before mergers, so they lost, kind of like the prestige that they wanted to hold on to till they got into a higher tier guild. And Soulfeast obviously lost his hero gem. I understand that you wanted to get rid of them now. However, we waited long enough so they don't longer have an option to actually transfer out. So they're kind of stuck here with us now. I feel this should have even been done prior to transfers closing, so they could have had the option to leave and not been stuck here, or waited post-mergers where they could have made that decision. I think that middle bit was done quite badly. That's just feedback.
I appreciate your feedback, and I don't disagree with you completely. I can say that until the decision was made, there was active attempts to try and remedy the issue, and it just became very evident that it was just not a thing. We didn't want to keep them here and allow that to become a salty, sour relationship, because that's exactly what would have happened.
I understand your guys' reasoning for all the shit, and obviously no one else is really privy to the shit that goes on between officers and stuff only, but yeah, I think because of the time they spent here, it probably could have just been excused to allow them to stay in Nation, as to not burn bridges thing. The same, if you're gonna give them consideration of spend your prestige before you go, could have just given them a few days to wait and get their stuff, and just not leave that bad taste in everyone's mouth kind of thing. Other than that, none of us really know the shit that's said behind the scenes because we're not really privy to it, so everyone's gonna ask, why did you guys do this and all this, but, if you don't tell us anything, no one really knows if there's any issues or that, that it was an ongoing problem that needed to be fixed.
I feel like to divulge the specifics of the issue would be unfair to Intax and Tadia, because it was mostly their friendship and relationship thing, and I don't want to adjust anyone's opinions of anyone in this. I'm trying to give you the amount of information to allow you to see what's going on. But if Intax wants to share personal information about what happened and what was said, that's his prerogative. If Tadia wants to choose to share more information, then that's his prerogative, you know? I kind of feel like at this point, I'm HR. And we tried to mediate the issues. The issues weren't able to be mediated. I can't really divulge more than that because I don't want to betray either one of their trust. You know?
I mean, we've all seen the outburst recently. I think we all kind of understand where it's coming from a little bit.
Hey, wake up.
Shadows, I don't understand. You'd have to quote me specifics.
I don't think it was resolved quickly at all, according to what they said, that it's been an ongoing issue for a while.
This has been literally the issues arose prior to us leaving Kyrios and have been actively being worked on since Kyrios. It's not a quick, like, we've decided last week. And it's been conversations after conversations after conversations. There was no, this happened 4 days before merger, cuz. It happened because we didn't want to continue to have the rift that was there. It wasn't a malicious intent on our part when choosing the timing.
User joined your channel.
Any other questions? Anything else y'all want to talk about on this topic before we move on? And again, of course, you know, if you are uncomfortable speaking up in a large group like this, poke us.
Real quick, sorry, I'm a bit late. Just got in. What has been covered so far and what has not been covered so far? Like, what has been discussed?
We're just talking about Intax and Sulfis leaving the nation.
Okay,
and
yeah.
how people feel about that.
So is this like where we voice our opinions and thoughts or have questions, or is this the start of that segment?
You
No,
are
I
welcome.
was a bit late. That's why I'm asking. I'm not trying to like ask stupid questions.
Basically, we just said that, you know, we told everyone that they have been removed from the nation and that it was because of an officer level breakdown in communications, and the floor is open to questions specifically to that issue.
Okay, sweet. Question number one, I guess. If it's a communication issue, I don't think it's a matter of just, going and just, booting two people out of a nation when all they've done is help. Maybe addressing the nation first, give people some time to discuss it and see if they're comfortable with it, and then moving on from there, or maybe removing the people from a leadership position rather than just insta kicking them from nation. Maybe they don't have to be in a leadership position.
It had been months of us trying to resolve the communication issues, and if the officers and if the people leading the nation are not able to communicate, then that nation will never function.
Fair
But
enough.
also,
and then,
Wada,
may I
it
finish
wasn't
my
like
thread before I'm interrupted?
yeah.
That would be great. And maybe then why not, instead of booting them from nation altogether, why not remove them from a leadership position, have someone else take over that slot, and then have them contribute as the rest of us do, just as members.
Have worked in a positive fashion. If we can't communicate with people, then how are we supposed to function as a nation? If Intax is going to be the primary raid lead, but he won't communicate with the other officers, how is that going to function? Removing them from roles would have just created more of an aggressive posture. It would have created more of a hostile environment at that level of communication.
Okay, fine, but then why was the rest of the nation not informed about this prior? Like,
you are being
User
informed
joined
now.
your channel.
informed
It was
now,
an officer
sure.
level decision, and the officers made that decision, and we're informing you.
I get that, but I do hope that you guys understand there will be like, even bigger fallout from this than just people maybe disagreeing or agreeing. Like people, and I'm sure you guys have already heard from, other people you talk to, but I have friends in other servers that like they instantly hit me up this morning like, oh dude, did you hear? And I'm like, well, yeah. And then there are apparently people already plotting to take advantage of that, dude.
Yes, we understand that. We knew that that would be a consequence.
This all just seems a bit sudden and kind of one-sided, and I don't think, and granted you said it's a leadership level decision to make, I understand that, but from in the past, whenever we made decisions that were this big, the nation was always consulted first. If someone was being invited to nation, the whole nation was consulted first. Like, does anybody have any issues with this? Does anybody have any thoughts they would like to contribute? Rather than just like, okay, look, we invited so and so. You guys better stick to it and hope you like it. There was always
Not
a process.
true at all.
Well, inviting versus kicking is completely different, though.
Well, not even that, but we didn't even have a discussion about inviting the 3 new people that just joined last week. Did we?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what you're talking about, Wada.
The way invites
past,
have always worked for the nation is the officers for each of the guild can recruit based on their guild's recruitment policies. So Outplayed recruits the way Outplayed wants to, Barcode recruits the way Barcode wants to, and the guilds have always had a understanding that we would like, okay, if I was going to recruit America, I would go to the other officers and be like, yo, we want to recruit America. Do you think that's going to cause any rifts? The other officers would say yes or no, and then we would as a group decide if we want to continue to pursue America. If the answer is yes, then he would go through Barcode's recruitment. Each guild has a different recruitment policy. So you might have seen discussions on recruits, but they were recruits for Outplayed. You've never voted on a recruit for Barcode.
Nope.
They're 2 separate guilds.
I understand that, but at the same time, while we run the cycle through guild where we ask people if they're okay with it, I'm sure that they then ask the rest of the nation leaders if they're okay with that.
Sure. And kicking and inviting are 2 separate things. We're not going to hold a vote on whether or not to kick people. That's just never going to be a thing. That's always going to be an officer level decision.
Example was when the squad and the other Olo people wanted to join nation, and how the entire nation was consulted before being even agreeing to invite them to, and not inviting them at all.
Like, if you have a vote to kick somebody, though, you're already burning bridges, and that's never going to be healthy again. So, like, you could never, like, there's no situation where voting to kick someone would ever work.
It's not just wanting to kick them. You could also vote on, like, not even vote, just have people give opinions on whether or not there's other ways that could possibly fix the
But
problem.
also, like, you
Right.
guys are talking about a
User
friendship
joined your
between 2
channel.
people that they decided didn't work anymore. Like, we can't vote over that and try and make them be friends. Like, that doesn't work. So what happens if we had, all discussed and thought, no, NTAC should stay, and so NTAC gets upset and doesn't want to stay. Like, it doesn't work when it's between 2 people. Like, arguably the whole thing was mostly between, well, because that's what it was between them. Like, how can they work? Yeah, if NTAX doesn't want to stay, you can't make him as well. Also, like, if it doesn't work between the 2, like, the raid call and the nation lead, like, that's a pretty big relationship or friendship that doesn't work. Lots of things go worse. Like, the way they act between each other gets worse, and the way they act towards other people gets worse because they're stuck in a situation they don't want to be in.
Okay, fair enough. But then, okay, second question, I guess. I understand your rationale for the first one. How much notice were they given prior to being kicked?
We had them in a channel individually, and we told them that they needed to spend the prestige. And that was it.
Just out of the blue, not like,
and that's
hey,
going to be
guys.
the exact same way that we would kick anyone else. Why would we give you a notification? Why would we say, yo, you're going to be kicked, you have 3 days?
Because
That's
maybe
3
people
days
had been
for
staging
someone to
packs,
be
maybe people had been
toxic
planning runs, maybe
and
people had been planning
foul
content.
and rude in nation and guilds, and no, we're not going to do that.
We have
If
plenty
you
of
are-
toxic
if it is
people who are in
decided
nation.
that you're going to be booted from nation, we're not going to give you a notice, because the opportunity for you to do more harm while you're there for that notice way outweighs any pros you could show me.
We have so many people who can be toxic. Everyone can be toxic. I can be toxic in nation. By
Yeah,
that
you
logic, then
can.
90% of us should have been kicked.
Look, I'm not here to argue the policies. We've never given anyone notification for a kick. We never will give anyone notification for a kick. We kicked them just like we would kick anyone else. There was ample opportunity, ample attempts on both sides to try and remedy the situation. The situation was untenable, so it was ended. That is really the short of it. The
Okay,
long
did you
and the short
even
of it.
bother asking,
User
would
joined
you
your
guys like
channel.
to remaining nation outside of a leadership
It doesn't
role?
matter if they wanted to or not. The situation was untenable. That's like
So
saying if Mr. America had
Why
the
me?
same, because I know you won't get offended and mad at me. Okay? But that's like saying, should we keep Mr. America if we had the same level of breakdown in communication with him? The answer would be no. It is no longer tenable. The situation was not repairable. They were no longer a positive influence. It needed to end.
I don't know. I disagree with it. I'm just making myself heard. You wanted opinions. I'm giving you mine. I don't think it was a just call to make in that time period. I don't think it was good to just give him like 3 minutes to, you know,
It
go ahead
doesn't
and
take
just spend
any
all the
longer
prestige.
to fucking spend your prestige. I don't understand why this is some.
You know,
like,
I don't understand why you feel the need to interrupt anytime someone
America,
opens their mouth.
he's just voicing his opinion. That's fun.
I'm not
He
saying
keeps
your points
interrupting
are
Betty,
invalid
too.
and that my points are the only points that matter. I'm voicing an opinion as it was asked. Does anybody have any opinions they would like to share? So if you wouldn't mind, I would
Okay,
like to finish
move
voicing
on.
my opinion really quick. Again, summarize it so America doesn't feel like I'm wasting too much of his time. I think the time period was too short. I feel that Linekia being a hero, maybe he should have at least been allowed to keep in until he got his, you know, hero gems or whatever. Granted, people are like, oh, let's vote for heroes. People try to act all righteous, like they don't get other people to be like whispering them like, oh, dude, just vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. Same
A little
process.
different when you have alts vote for you versus you encourage your members of your nation to vote for you. Also, from what I understand, he owns the entire pirate nation too.
Okay. For voting with alts,
That doesn't matter in this case.
It doesn't
Because,
matter.
And
I
it doesn't
own
matter. It
like
doesn't matter
10
whether
accounts.
it
Does
doesn't.
that make me a bad
Okay,
person?
it doesn't matter whether it was alts. Like it doesn't matter if it was alts or not, or if it was people voting for him. It really doesn't.
He had to
It's
split anyway.
Like this is supposed to be about like people voicing their opinions about why Intax and Soul Feast were removed. That's
but
all.
him getting hero has caused the animosity towards him and increased the hate of him because
Maybe, but it
everyone's
didn't
claiming
affect our
assault.
decision currently. So, I mean, we wouldn't have given anyone else the opportunity to serve out their hero term if we felt they needed to be removed from the nation. We treated them exactly the same way we would treat everyone else. We wouldn't air out anyone else's problems. If we were having difficulties with, I'm going to use you again, Mr. America, if we were having difficulties with Mr. America on a level that we felt like needed to be corrected or that friendship with him needed to end, we wouldn't tell everyone here because it's not everyone here's business. It's between America and us, and if the or whoever the issue is with, and if it can't be corrected, then that decision would be made.
I don't know.
I
I just
understand
feel
it affects all of you, but the point of having a leadership is we lead, which means sometimes we make decisions not everybody's gonna like.
I feel that this is going to affect raid performance, honestly, in the negative. I mean, there are plenty of people that are good at leading raids, but let's face
Absolutely,
it,
it
the
will.
vast majority of raids,
But I
there
What
was
think
the
raid
one person that
performance are
stood
you
up.
talking about? You weren't on Curios.
Excuse me?
You weren't on Curios with us.
Yes, he was.
Let's go
That
back.
doesn't matter.
Was?
It's all
Oh
about
wait, did
conviction.
Steam
Huh?
come in?
Okay, hold on. That doesn't matter. Like we can just move on if we need to. But like, what I was
Unless you were
curious
from
that
Curios,
doesn't
I was
A
in
lot of
Curios
people typing have
before
opinions
most of
too.
you
If you
were.
want to get to that.
I feel
I
like
mean, I'm
the same
reading all
shit
of
is
them.
being, sorry to interrupt you, the same shit is being reiterated
Can
again. So if you have
somebody
something new, like say it, but otherwise you don't need to repeat yourself 50 times. We get it, some people aren't happy. Yes, there's going to be repercussions. Yes, it was a leadership only decision and people outside of leadership didn't get to make anything in it. So if anyone has anything new outside of that and not to repeat the same shit over and over again, please. But let's not say the same shit over and over.
Do we have an archer here, Glenn Amanda, to pull? I'm sorry.
It doesn't have to be an archer. It can be anybody.
Yeah,
I'll
that's good, I
rebagger
think.
off of it.
Rona with a fucking.
Yeah, I just need someone to do the
You just
initial
need to reset
pull.
one, right? Or no?
Yeah. Oh no, just someone pull Mina. That's all I need.
Just pull
And
it
then
to
go
where?
to where my warehouses are, and my mailbox over by the tree and the mob.
Okay, easy.
Okay, so if nothing new is going to be added to this conversation, let's move on to the next topic. Which
Can America and
is...
Sarge please, Tequila?
Shadows is still typing.
A lot of people were typing that weren't addressed.
Can you drive radius? I'm gonna go pick. I'm gonna go tank that. Spread out.
No, you're fine, dude.
Oh shit! It's on your tank now.
Yeah, it's gonna be on my tank. We'll be fine.
Go on with what you're saying, Betty. Or let
I
Shadows
was
finish.
waiting for people to type. Sorry. We have talked to Soulfeast. Tadia specifically has talked to Soulfeast about his behavior on several occasions.
When?
I don't write down dates. It was
'Cause-
done. He can say that it hasn't, but it was. I mean, Shadows, how long have you known us? Have you ever known Tadia to see something that he thought was a problem and it not get addressed?
I understand that, but I've been talking with Sophie's multiple occasions for the last month or so, and not once has he mentioned being talked to
So you
by a
don't
leadership
think
role.
that on Curios, when he told people that they deserved to lose his packs, that he wasn't talked to then?
On Chaos, and so it's okay. On Chaos, that may be the one occasion, but you guys said multiple
It
times.
wasn't.
Why are you guys not saying
it
one time?
wasn't one occasion, and I'm not going to create a laundry list of things either. That is something that is also in the same realm. I mean, I didn't come in here with a laundry list of things. If you want to get into specifics, I'm sure I can dig through screenshots and find them for you. But he was definitely talked to on more than one occasions. Wada, you have made that very, very clear. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Are
We
y'all
didn't
killing
feel
Mana
like
and
that
Glenn?
was an option that was
It'll be dead
suitable
soon.
for the situation, Cyber. We don't do that for anyone. I mean, if the situation is untenable, it's untenable. Why would we give someone notice, yo, we're going to kick you in a week? That's just not a thing that is done.
Benny,
They
can I
can
ask
still
why the
run their
situation was
packs.
untenable?
It was. I literally am not going to give you any more information other than there was a gross breakdown in communication at a leadership level, specifically with Index. It was
Oh, sorry, I
just
meant with Soulfeast.
his attitude in Nation, and you know that he would have just gotten. Yeah, it's going to be vague. You're not an officer. I'm sorry, Dipsy.
Is what did he
User
do
joined your channel.
specifically in the last few weeks to merit the action to be brought forward in such a rush time period, if that makes sense? Because I know everyone's going, we spoke to you on Curios, but okay, why is this happening now? I guess, and I understand we're not privy to officer conversations, but I think it would help put a lot of people's questions at ease if we just.
Name one event that Soulfeast has attended since we have been on this server.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people in that category.
Well, this server is also free farming, and you make more gold than making packs.
I guess what we're asking is, was there a looming big event that happened? Did he have an outburst and flame something? Like, did something actually big trigger this decision?
From my understanding, it's just a long time of just shit going.
There seems to be a miss. Like, you guys think that the hero vote affected it, but apparently that's not the issue. It doesn't matter if he got hero. Like, regardless, everyone else who wanted hero got hero. So even if he got hero or didn't, everyone else that literally asked for votes got it. So I don't think that was part of the decision at all. Yeah, it may leave a bad taste in your mouth if someone gets it with nothing but alt votes, but it's irrelevant in the outcome of things, and that wasn't part of why they removed them.
I don't understand why people say alt votes when they were removed out of nation. There was at least, I believe, 10 or 15 people in all that was removed out of nation or left nation, which is still not enough to get Aaron or hero, which means it's not alt votes. If you guys can look at the numbers.
I'm not gonna lie, I voted for Soulfeast.
Yeah, and there's also multiple people that voted for him. So this alt votes is just a bunch of load of shit that's
So
being said.
it was just stated that that's irrelevant and them being
Yeah, but
removed. It
people
has
are
nothing
also
to do
bringing
with
it up
it.
multiple times.
Darkness, do you want to come 40 meters within Gwen? that don't have death debuff. Who the fuck has a car out here? What the?
Oh, it despawns in 1 minute. We need to pull. Does do people still have a
Once we get it into combat, it'll have 2 minutes to be downed. So we're just
ready.
gonna pop it.
It's fine. Despawn.
Oh, it didn't pull it.
Hello.
Nice.
It's fine.
Alright,
The
well.
priority is this meeting, so
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and disband, and we can put our attention to this.
Sorry guys, I'm not ignoring you, I'm reading. Camia, there's lots of things that were a contributing factor to our decision on Sulfies. I'm not going to give you guys specifics because it's just not fair to him. Like, everyone deserves the ability to decide what information goes out into public.
What if I got him to come to speak and say that he agrees to you saying that
We're
information?
not going to have them in TeamSpeak. We're not going to sit here and go back and forth. The decision was made. It doesn't matter what
Because you just said you can't give specifics, but if he says he agrees that you guys could give specifics, it could help other people understand the situation better.
My dude, if you want specifics, speak to Soulfeast. It's already done. They're both kicked. I don't understand why we're going back and forth. It's done.
Because I feel like this is a bunch of lip service currently.
Okay, we're just going to end the conversation here. We're basically chasing our tails and going around in circle. I understand that not all of you agree with the decision, but that is the decision. If you want to continue this conversation outside of this forum, the officers will be happy to talk to you.
Leadership has literally said they're not going to give specifics from it because they don't want to do that. So if you want the specifics of any incidents, just talk to Intex and Soulfeast. They're still in the server.
Yeah, but I did ask them
Talk
for
to the people
specific,
that are
and
directly involved.
yeah, I did
ask
ask for
them.
specific.
Talk to
and I
Tatia
said it.
alone. They don't want it public. Doesn't seem like it's hard to understand. Just go talk to Tatia if you think that it was like completely without any provocation, just removed from Nation. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I find it really hard to believe Tatia would say, you know what? I just don't like Intax anymore, and I'm gonna kick out the raid leader for zero fucking reason at all, and just kick him from the Nation. Like, does that honestly sound fucking realistic?
What do you mean? Oh, there is a reason. What the fuck? Holy.
Yeah, it's not being told because we're not privy to it.
Oh
So
my
talk to
God.
Tatia or talk to Intax.
Yeah, the people that want, reasons why, speak to people. Entax, Soulfeast, any of them.
I mean, leadership doesn't want to share it, but I'll be honest. Like, I know for a fact that Intax did not attend Leviathan and told Soulfeast as well not to attend because they didn't like the leadership decision that Tati was putting forth and changes for Leviathan. So his way, in a leadership position of combating that, was to just boycott going to Leviathan when it was something we were still doing. No, I'm not leadership committee. I don't have screenshots, but I'm telling you from a normal member's perspective and from what I'm told has happened. So you can say that, you didn't hear anything from Intax and shit like that, but I'm telling you there's been multiple incidents in the past 3 months. So it wasn't just completely unprovoked.
You act like being toxic in Nation is a good thing or a bad thing or whatever. Like, if you're being toxic Portia, you get fucking kicked. Like, no one wants to be around toxic retards.
Dang, why are we all here? We're all toxic
You're
retards.
obviously fucking there's something missing in your fucking brain if you don't understand what the real fucking definition
Perfect
of
example
being
of a
toxic
toxic
is.
retard.
No,
Something's
this
missing
isn't
from
being
my
fucking
brain.
toxic, dude.
America.
What? His actions were very fucking toxic towards players
joined your
that
channel.
didn't even fucking have it coming to them. When people are kidding around being toxic, that's totally fucking different. How can you not understand this difference? Is there something missing in your brain? For fuck's sake.
I don't know.
Clearly
You tell
not.
me. You clearly know me so well.
Honestly, you're
Hey.
controlling or instigating things, though.
That
Like, it's not
America,
productive to
that
say the same
doesn't
shit
help.
over and over.
Yeah, let's not insult each other here.
There's a difference between, like, trolling each other and being actually toxic and shit-talking other members and doing things behind leadership's back. Intentionally instigating fights, antagonizing people.
Okay, everybody just go take a break. We're gonna end the meeting here. Everybody take a break.
Disconnected.